District and a posted notice to this effect on the Board of Education Bulletin Board, Administrative Headquarters, 51 West Cliff Street, Somerville, New Jersey. Mr. Boyce, can we have roll call, please?
Miss Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson. Here. Mrs. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Puntillo. Here. Dr. Sadin is absent. Mrs. Schweitzer.
Here.
Mrs. Van Horn is absent. Mr. Sergio is absent. Mr. Jess.
Here.
Mrs. Fabrizi.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to open the meeting for public comment on agenda items. No? All right. May I have a motion to close, please? Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Next, I'd like to have an approval of the minutes. Resolved that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the Board of Education meetings from January 3rd, reorganization workshop regular meeting, January 15th, regular and executive session, and February 5th, regular and executive session.
So moved.
Mr. Carlson, second by Ms. Matthews. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? I abstain on the January 3rd.
I abstain on February 5th. I abstain on January 3rd.
Myself and Ms. Fabrizi on the 3rd. and
Okay.
Ms. Switzer on
Got it.
So not to bore you this evening, there is no board president's report. Yay! So we're going to move right along to the superintendent's report.
And we're going to start off with Vanderveer School. It's going to be doing a presentation for 3 to 5. And I guess Rob is doing the introduction.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate the opportunity for us to present our highlights. And I know it's only February, and we still have the better part of the school year to go with all of our major events. But I would like to give you a snapshot of what our school's been up to. And I would like to recognize, although they don't want me to, but go ahead and do it anyway. This is our team of teachers that assisted with the production of the highlights that you're going to see. Mrs. Kessler, Ms. Godfrey, Ms. Shifrana, Ms. Ligori, Mrs. Tuminello, and Ms. Coltep. So I want to thank them, and they deserve recognition. As much as the students do and deserve the recognition, it really is my pleasure to introduce and talk about our school because Vanderveer is a phenomenal place for students, for teachers, and community members, parents to come visit. And doors are open. As long as you get past Officer George Fazio up front, not easy to do. No, but you're more than welcome to come in at any time and just see the wonderful working. So we'll provide you a snapshot of what our days look like. Thanks to Ms. McAfee for queuing this all up.
Teachers like learning fun. For example, we did an escaping challenge to practice math and reading skills on together. I'm Lindsay. I'm Lila. Have you ever read The Lemonade Boy by Jacqueline Davies? We did last year in 4th grade. It was one of our favorite novels.
Everyone is people smart. He is good at talking to people, even grown-ups. He's so nurses like Jesse, on the other hand, is not smart. We're not exactly good at understanding people. So when we're at Lemonade Boy weekend, there's no telling who will win or if what will ever happen.
Last year, this book inspired us to open our own lemonade stand. The Loya and Jones families donated the lemonade stand. With our lemonade sales and donations, we contribute $1,938 to the Alexis Lemonade Foundation.
Our favorite memories were feeling excited when it was our turn to sell, finally having a job, seeing all those excited faces, and being proud of our accomplishments.
Some tips for young users are get there early, have exact change. So one in the gym lobby is usually less crowded than the one in the preschool line. Tips for the 4th graders are make eye contact with the customers, speak clearly, and communicate well with the coworkers. That's key. 4th graders and best of luck. Hi, my name's Jack. I'm Bonnie with Logan. We're 4th grade students. Lemonade Boy is a fantastic book that teaches us life lessons and laugh out loud with. It is about a brother named Evan and his sister Jessie who go head-to-head in the lemonade war. The book teaches us how to work together and show that a little competition is a good thing. Evan and Jessie are trying to earn the most money so they can win the lemonade war. I can't wait to run a lemonade stand with some of my friends to support research to cure cancer. You're participating in the Great Lemonade War! Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation, one step closer to curing all kids with cancer. You can join us by attending our event or making a donation right to our fundraiser page, which will be posted on our school website. The money you donate will pay for research to find better treatments and cures for all childhood cancer. Our lemonade stands will be open from March 11th to March 15th from 8:15 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. and from 2:45 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Our goal is to raise $2,000 to beat the money that we raised last year. Please help kids and their families by providing the desperately needed hope. Thanks for your support.
This year, our school began using a new writing program. In our first unit, we learned all about writing workshop and decorated up with the help of smart ideas. Our vector text helped us generate ideas and collect sensory details.
It feels great getting all your feelings on paper and recording precious memories or getting the chances to be creative. The new type of writing in 5th grade was creating a memoir. This allowed us to share important parts of our lives, such as our family, friends, or homes. The best part was sharing these special experiences with others and learning more about our classmates. I love having my friends and family come to class to listen to my achievements. I love listening to other people's writing pieces and learning about their lives too. I feel really proud of my published pieces so far.
Hi, my name is Sam. Today I'm going to tell you a couple things about our PBL Leading Up Science. In this PBL, we got to create a TV show, and with our groups, we played pretend we were cooking food that used physical changes or chemical changes. My group did a Thanksgiving dinner. We had so much fun.
Welcome to Masters of Cooking and Science Show. You are watching on the Science Network.
Today, we will be showing you how you can use physical and chemical changes by only making a simple breakfast.
We will be making pancakes,
Scrambled eggs
bacon,
and orange juice.
so let's get started.
Morning. Stephanie Requesta. And learn about
And we are
Creative Science Kids.
For short, we are CWSN. This episode, we're making holiday themed foods for the Big Jolly Family.
That in a nutshell is just like I said, a glimpse of what goes on during the school day. But like I said, it's the students' performances and it's the teachers' preparation and planning that really makes all the magic happen. And being the leader of a staff that really it just I would the best way to look good is surround yourself with a great team. I mean, it really is, and and I can't say enough about the staff and the representatives that we have here tonight, and our guest speaker Violet's here too. So thank you, appreciate that. It was a great performance. But the whole idea is, as you saw through the still photos too, is as I'm watching it here, I'm like, wow, I'm looking for students sitting in desks, and it's not seen a lot because that's not really where the learning takes place for this age group. They are constantly moving and communicating with one another, and they're, the flexible seating is all over Vanderveer where the students are comfortable. You can't go through the day without seeing students carrying their laptops, communicating, sending things to their teachers, to their friends, communicating, all with school purpose though. And it's really gotten us to a point where when these kids leave 5th grade, they're ready. They're ready to take on the middle school challenges, and they're ready to just progress all the way up. So, like I said, I can't thank them enough for the starting place we're putting them with the creativity and the all the collaboration behind the scenes. And it's truly what it is. It's the staff, empowering them, and with your support with all the programs. So I want to say thank you for everything. That's it. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And you get to leave.
They don't have any
questions or comments?
no speeches?
That was great.
You got it all.
With the reading
Before you go, if you want to hear any comments.
That was great. I always knew Vanderveer was a great place, especially when my kids were there, but it seems it's only gotten better. So thank you to everybody that's here, to Mr. Reevy, Ms. Moran, and to the staff that aren't here, because you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Now you're
You can stay.
Great job. On to district highlights. We have VDV PS Grade 2, Nicole Bateman, Martina Saad, and Marie Cohen presented on February 11th at the 3rd Annual NJASCD Early Childhood Summit. They highlighted the Somerville programs that have recently been initiated, which foster the effective transition of students and families from preschool to kindergarten. Their audience from around the state was highly impressed. The week of February 11th was a very busy week for the PS2 students, as the 100th day of school and Valentine's Day occurred in the exact same week. The 100th day of school was celebrated with explorations of the number 100 and included the annual highlight of the first grade teachers dressing as 100-year-olds. Friendship and kindness were the themes of Valentine's Day celebrations, which are the focus every day at Vanderveer. For VDV grades 3 to 5, besides what you saw tonight, on February 2nd and 8th, Dr. Robert Peterman, a local orthodontist, spoke to our students about dental health. He discussed oral health, proper nutrition for healthy teeth, flossing, and the importance of regular visits to the dentist for cleaning and cavity checks. Drawstring bags were also given to each student. First, 5th grader, I know I'm going to butcher this first name, Yael Zumbato? What is it? Jael, and do I ever get it wrong? Jael Zumbato, a student in Mrs. Mack's class, has been busy collecting new and slightly used cleats from classmates and community. Jael, will bring them to Costa Rica so he can donate them to children who play soccer with no shoes. Jael was inspired from watching videos on YouTube with his parents
when they were informing him about where his parents were from in Costa Rica. He set his goal at 100 pairs of cleats to collect and then distribute them when he arrives in Costa Rica later this month. His community service actions have coincided with the 5th graders' ELA PBL, where they are researching, learning, and reporting about young people in the world who are donating extraordinary things for others. Congratulations to him for making a difference and finding a way to give to others in need. Safe travels, because he's leaving very soon. He's still collecting them, isn't he?
He is.
He is. So if you have slightly used cleats that you want to give away, drop them off at Vanderveer.
He just informed me that he's flying by himself to get down there.
Really?
Yeah, because he's going to be meeting a relative in Costa Rica, but the purpose of the trip is to distribute this, so his luggage is going to be packed with the cleats.
Wow.
So, yeah, he was on the local news in Costa Rica for what he was doing.
So when is he leaving?
Next week.
So you have a week to get, well, probably less than a week to go.
Yeah, he's getting close. Real close.
Is it up to like what size of? Just little
Any
kids
youth,
here?
any youth cleats from any size.
I'd say drop them off by Friday, Rob,
Yep.
so he has time to,
By Friday would be
by
great.
Friday.
With a suitcase?
For Somerville Middle School, SMS Community was inspired by the grade level assemblies on Paul Robeson, presented by Dr. Randall Westbrook. The basketball team ended their very successful season, and the I Care 3 E-Club visited Alfonso's Pizzeria, where they learned to make various pizzas and enjoyed tasting after their efforts. Grade 6 went to the Sterling Mines class trip, where they had a chance to apply what they are learning in the classroom to the field. For Somerville High School, on February 7th and 8th, our senior peer leaders traveled to Stony Acres Lodge in Marshall Street, Pennsylvania, for their winter retreat. The goals of the retreat are to reaffirm the relationships that have been formed through peer leadership, listen to feedback from peer leaders to work together more successfully, examine feedback from the freshmen about their perceived impact of peer leadership, and develop action plans for enhancing the group functioning and improving the impact that peer leadership has on freshmen. These goals are achieved through a series of large group and small group activities focused on team building, communication, problem solving, and individual and group reflection. And that concludes district highlights. Thank you, Dr. T.
The peer leadership program, that's a great program.
It is.
My older daughter was a peer leader, and my younger daughter hopes to be one, so you never know, but that's a great program. All right, moving on to report of board items and committee reports. We're going to have Daphne Duzan, our student representative. Have at it, Daphne.
Okay, so first I have the the Special Olympics New Jersey Polar Bear Plunge, which By Kids for Kids raises money for every year. So members have been baking for bake sales, making posters to put around the school, and going around during lunch periods and homerooms to collect donations. And all the donations go towards Special Olympics, so it's for a really great cause. And then Mr. Foley actually asked Callie and I to talk about other clubs in the school that might not get as much recognition. So first I'm going to talk about the Muse, and that's a club ran by Mrs. Harder, and it offers students a place to share any work they're proud of, such as like artwork, poetry, and essays, and they also receive feedback from other peers that are in the club. And then second, there's Cultural Diversity, which is ran by Mr. Malisi. I'm actually in the club. We meet once a month and have presentations about different cultures that people in the club sign up to present about. So we talk about like the culture there, fashion, music, and most of the time people bring in food from the culture, so that's always a plus. And yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Daphne. And you can leave, you don't have to stay.
Okay, thank you.
Moving right along to Finance Committee, Ms. Swensman.
Earlier this evening, the Finance Committee reviewed the first draft of the budget, and given that state aid is unknown and will be unknown for a time, we will develop different scenarios based on what the aid could possibly be. Then it is recommended that items 1 through 5 be moved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools. 1 is the Board Secretary's financial reports. 2 is acceptance of monthly financial reports. 3 is payroll. 4 is the bills list. And 5 is line item transfers.
Thank you. Having been moved by Ms. Switzer, may I have a second, please? Second. Mr. Carlson, any discussion on the items? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Ms. Schweitzer.
It is recommended that items 6 through 12 be moved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. 6 is the high school bills list. 7 is the Somerville High School tuition rate with Branchburg, which will be set at $15,862 per student for the 2019-2020 school year. The tuition contract with the Branchburg Board of Education. Acceptance and filing of the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. Acceptance and filing of the auditor's management report on administrative findings, financial compliance, and performance for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. Approval of the corrective action plan and travel expenditures.
Thank you. May I have a second on those, please? Second. Patillo, any discussion on these items?
Yes. That's the first time I'm seeing that number for the tuition rate. What percent increase is that from last year?
The tuition rate is up 13%.
Why?
Primarily because of a roof project at the high school next year. We have 3 big sections that we can't put off any longer. That's $1.1 million. There's other things too. We have exhaust fans that need to be replaced in the high school. That's another $85,000. We have carbon monoxide detectors that we have to put in the building. We need new wireless access points at the high school. We're upgrading Lab 112. That's the bulk of them. We also need a new band truck. So, no, that's not this year. So, normally every year we're able to keep these capital projects or one-time costs fairly level from year to year, so it doesn't cause your tuition rate to spike. However, this year we weren't able to keep it as level as we like. The roof was the big hitter that hurt us because you have 3 sections all done in 1999. We can't put off any longer, and we have to do it. So unfortunately, that drives up the tax rate for Branchburg. I did speak to Teresa today, so we spoke at length about it. So obviously, there's something she'd rather not hear, but after talking to her, I think that she's going to be able to deal with it as best she could. I didn't sense a major problem because of it.
Okay, not awesome. 13%. Very large jump.
Any other questions? No? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? So moved.
Certification of major account status. Pursuant to NJAC 6A:23A-16.10C4, the Somerville Board of Education certifies that as of January 31st, 2019, after review of the board secretaries and treasurers' monthly financial reports, and upon consultation with the appropriate officials, to the best of its knowledge, no major account or fund has been overexpended in violation of NJAC 6A:23A-16.10C4, and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. Major accounts are current expense, capital projects, and debt service.
Thank you. Moving on to buildings and grounds, Mr. Puntillo.
Yes, I want to preface, before I offer some resolutions, I was going to point out as a capital expense that we do have to address the roofs. That's over $1.1 million in expense. And I believe we also have a turf field of $500,000 that we're going to have to address in the near future as well. So I was going to add that to the report. I'm offering for resolution and disposal of the obsolete items and the school bus emergency evacuation drill report.
Thank you. May I have a second on buildings and grounds, please? Thank you, Mrs. Olson. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Athletics and student activities, since Mr. Sturgill is a little under the weather, turn over to Ms. Matthews.
Yes, the athletics and activities report for 2019-19. Basketball boys, In the county tournament, after a victory in Manville, the boys of hoops took their drive for the prize against the determined Bound Brook squad. They came up 4 points short. Next up is the sectional tournament. For the girls, after crushing Immaculata, I'm not going to be nearly as enthusiastic. This was written by Mr. Sergio, so I'm editing as I go because I don't have the soundtrack to go with it. Bear with me. The Lady Pioneers fell a little short in a hard-fought match against Watchung Hills. They are also off to the sectionals. Somerville girls basketball team raised over $7,000 in the Pink Game fundraiser to contribute to close to $20,000 over the last 3 years for an enormous cause, conquer cancer. Unified Bowling. On February 7th, the Unified Bowling Squad crushed Franklin 737 to 537 to advance to the state tournament. And I'm going to try not to butcher names, so bear with me. I tried to practice this one today. Diodato Boljestad, Ciampola, and Morris led the Unified Bowling team against some serious foes. A big hats off to the team that just keeps teaching the Ville life lessons every day. Fencing is senior night is Thursday, February 21st. The high school will cheer on seniors Michael Berlin, Dan Gooding, and Jack Corridon and Pooja Patel as they move to finish up their high school fencing career in style. Wrestling, senior Andrew Diodato is competing for his 4th year wrestling career with a 24-5 record. He placed second in the district's 13 tournament. And a huge congratulations to Rodney Van Ness on his selection as the District 13 Assistant Coach of the Year. So applause for him. Activities, Pippin. Get your tickets. The high school production of Pippin. Tickets can be purchased online. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Also, at the last activities and athletics meeting, we had a special presenter, Tyler Kazar, I hope I got that right, of the Robotics Club. Tyler presented a fantastic presentation of the first robotics program for the inspiration and recognition of science and technology. The program provides mentor-based programs to students in grades K through 12 that teach them how to be science and technology leaders, teaching them all of the skills necessary to thrive in business, families, communities, and otherwise. As Tyler elegantly stated, it is not a program that has kids build robots, but a program where robots are used to build kids. There is way too much to be said about the robotics program. The robotics alumni have attended colleges such as MIT, NJIT, Rutgers, Navy, and many more, and have pursued world-changing careers such as nuclear reactor operations, aerospace engineering, and biomedicines. I have to say that it was such an impressive and educational presentation. I was really blown away by the commitment to these students, and I actually cannot wait to attend. They have a match coming up March 16th and 17th at Bridgewater Raritan High School, and then again in Montgomery High School from March 30th to 31st. The time, effort, and energy that these kids put into this program, and it's not solely based on what they produce. It's based on teamwork and their ability to help other teams. It's so much more than building a robot, and every club should really take a piece of their playbook because it was phenomenal. That's my 2 cents. Also, at last but not least, student athlete college signings. Lots of baseball signings. Jack Anglam committed to RVCC. Dante Bazzuti committed to NJIT. Joe Ciampola to TCNJ. Patrick Noon to King's College, and for lacrosse, Andrew Diodato is going to pursue DeSalle University. And that's that.
Thank you. Would you move the items under
I certainly
curriculum, please?
will. I don't have any to move. I have curriculum next.
Well, yes.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Curriculum, you're up.
Yep.
Because
That's me again.
Ms. Van Horn is not here this evening.
Okay, curriculum. It is recommended that the items 1 through 3 be moved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. 1, the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. 2, the 2019 summer programs for grades K through 8. And 3, the adoption of curriculum maps at Vanderveer schools.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second. Mr. Carlson, any discussion on those items? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
We have some items here that require roll call vote.
What was that?
Mr. Boyce.
I didn't think so. I looked at that. Which items?
Item number 3.
Curriculum maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So then we'll vote on items 1 and 2, and then number 3 separately. So we have a motion by Ms. Matthews, and we have a second by Mr. Carlson. So items 1 and 2, all those in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear why we're not voting on 3?
Because that's,
We need to roll call vote because it's a curriculum item.
I see.
Any abstentions? So moved. And item number 3, may I have a motion on that one, please?
so moved.
Thank you. May I have a second? Ms. Matthews, thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Boyce?
Miss Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Mrs. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Puntillo.
Yes.
Mrs. Schweitzer.
Yes.
Mr. Jess.
Yes. Thank you. Moving along. Ms.
It is
Matthews?
recommended that items 4 through 7 be moved upon on the recommendation of superintendent of schools. Number 4, 2019 Summer Algebra Enrichment Program. This is a brand new program for this summer. Really good things coming. 2019, number 5, summer programs for grades 9 through 12. Number 6, 2019-2020 school district calendar. Number 7, field trips.
Thank you. May I have a second on those items? Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Any discussion on those items? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Again, there are, I believe, things in here that relate to curriculum, and that requires roll call vote.
You have a first and a second. Would you like me to do roll call?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Miss Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Mrs. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Puntillo.
Yes.
Mrs. Schweitzer.
Yes.
Mr. Jess.
Yes.
Mrs. Fabrizi.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving along to technology, since Ms. Van Horn is not here, I'll ask Mr. Puntillo.
Yes, I want to point out that we received a $92,000 governor's computer science grant. It's going to support computer science curriculum in the high school, a lab redesign, and professional development. We also have the Somerville High School STEM Academy computer support cohort. Students are completing internships in the Chrome Zone, designing passion projects, and creating a digital portfolio. And there's also going to be a Somerville Social Media Parents Series with the next one on February 26th, or the first one on February 26th.
Thank you. Moving on to personnel, Dr. Teague.
Resolved that the Board of Education approve and/or accept the superintendent of schools' recommendations as follows. Appointments and salaries contingent upon verified documentation. Number 1, to approve Julie Samuels, a student at Fairleigh Dickinson University, complete her field placement assignment at Vanderveer School with Christine Cutlow. Number 2, to approve a change to the paid maternity leave of absence for Catherine Purcells from March 11th, 2019 through April 17th, and change that to February 27th through April 17th. And the unpaid child care leave would be under the Family Medical Leave Act, and that's effective April 18th through June 30th. Number 3, to approve the change to the paid maternity leave of absence for Courtney Ball, Grace, from January 2nd through February 14th, and change that to January 2nd through March 8th. And an unpaid child care leave of absence in accordance with the New Jersey Family Leave Act from March 9th through April 17th. Number 4, to approve the appointment of the listed individuals to the position of co-coaches for the intramural boys soccer team at Somerville Middle School. Number 5, to accept the resignation of Melissa Cross from the position of teacher of first grade at Vanderveer. Number 6, to accept the retirement resignation of Karen Tovey Jones from the position of social worker at Vanderveer School. 7, to accept the resignation of Linda McConaughey from the position of teacher of Spanish at Somerville Middle School. Number 8, to abolish an occupational therapist position at Somerville Middle School.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion? I'd just like to wish Ms. Toby Jones well in her retirement. She was a great lady at Vanderbilt School, so
I
she will
want to
be
second
missed.
that. She followed my granddaughter from kindergarten to today. My granddaughter's 20.
That's awesome. So,
She'll be missed.
congratulations. Yes, she will. All right, Mr. Boyce.
Miss Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Mrs. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Puntillo.
Yes.
Mrs. Schweitzer. Mr. Jess.
Yes.
For 9 through 12 district-wide, resolved that the Board of Education approve and/or accept the superintendent of schools' recommendations as follows. Appointments and salaries contingent upon verified documentation. Number 9, to approve Natalie Boyce, a Raritan Valley Community College professor, to teach the SOLID program at Somerville High School. Number 10, to approve the listed individuals, the position of volunteer at Somerville High School. Number 11, to approve the appointment of the attached list of individuals to the position of coach at Somerville High School. Number 12, to approve the appointment of Todd Graves to the part-time position of bus driver for Somerville Public Schools. And number 13, to abolish an instructional assistant position at Somerville High School. Number 14, to approve the appointment of John Hain to administer constructive response tasks for the portfolio appeal for students who have not tested proficiently on an improved state test at the rate of $36 an hour. Number 15, to approve the appointment of Tyler Kaiser to the position of technical coordinator for the 2018-19 musical performance at Somerville High School.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in, sorry, roll call please, Mr. Boyce.
Miss Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Mrs. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Puntillo.
Yes.
Mrs. Schweitzer. Mr. Jess.
Yes, and I'm going to abstain on item 11.
Mrs. Fabrizi.
Yes.
God bless you. Okay. Moving on to old business. Is there any old business from the board? No?
I just want to point out something about the bus drivers. Everywhere I've been, we need to know that schools are finding it extremely difficult to find bus drivers. The requirements to get a commercial license today is getting more and more stringent. Most bus vendors and the ESC, which I'm on the board, struggle very difficult, and in order to entice these people, we have to significantly increase their compensation.
And I know that the Ed Services Commissions have started to become testing centers too, to help to, have people get their licenses a little more quicker and easier. So, but it is very difficult. Is there any other old business? No. May I have a motion to close old business, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Moving on to new business. It was already mentioned, but I'm going to plug Pippin again. High school drama department does a great job, so make sure you get your tickets. $13 online, $15 at the door. Cash only. February 28th until March 2nd. So it should be a good show. So please go out and support the high school. It's going to be a great show. I'm sorry. It's going to be a great show from our technical advisor behind the camera today. Is there any other new business? No? All right. May I have a motion to close new business, please? Motion. Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Schweitzer, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. We are now open to the public.
I love your daughters.
Alright. My name is Sharon Burnick. I teach at the high school here in Somerville. I live at 508 Carlton Street in Boundbrook, New Jersey. I wanted to be slightly more eloquent today, so if you don't mind, I prepared and re-prepared and edited
Do you mind talking a little bit
some words. Yes, I can speak louder. Turn on my teacher. On Friday, we received a message from our professional development keynote speaker, Santal Steve. I wish each of you could have been there because it was incredibly insightful and very humorous. If you've seen any of his videos online, he does exactly what he did for us in the auditorium. So you can certainly look him up. Santal Steve is his persona. His formula of respect and recognition and reward and reinforcement in order to equal a result is a great classroom tool, but it's also a great life tool. And when we show what we respect, we recognize what we respect, we reward what is being done for what we respect, and we reinforce this behavior for what we respect, we will continually get a positive result. Stand Tall Steve states that all pieces of this formula are grounded in behavior we already expect in the classroom, which I thought was an interesting point. If we were to apply this formula to the expected behavior, like, for example, having a student raise his or her hand instead of shouting out in class, then students will seek to go beyond these expectations as they are respected, recognized, rewarded, and the behavior of raising hands is reinforced. Therefore, I would like to know what you guys respect. Because up until Stand Tall Steve made the speech, I thought it was teachers in the school district. I'm an optimist, and in my department they call me sunshine because I seek to give the benefit of the doubt always. And I look for the sunshine in those dark situations. And I appreciate that you celebrate Teachers of the Year and the students for each of the buildings and their various events and sports. And thank you for filling in for the sports recall this time. Very well done, thank you. But when listening to the keynote speaker on Friday, I found myself applying this message to my current situation, not only to my students as a teacher, and what I respect or even expect of them, but I also started thinking about the expectations of my vocation, which leads me to question, does my board respect what I am doing? Does my board respect me with a livable salary and recognize this respect with a fair contract? Does my board reward what I am doing? At a loss for these answers on the one side of the equation, my final question is, what are the results that my board is seeking from me by delaying this ratified contract? These questions define sharply for me the lowering morale that I see in my colleagues and that I'm beginning to feel personally. Steve Bowler continued his address by defining integrity, which I had always perceived with positive connotation, but he defined integrity with a neutral connotation. He defined it as what one can depend upon, a belief, a value, an action, or a quality that one can depend upon. For example, the integrity of not cheating on an exam or the integrity of being honest. These are all moral standards that we depend upon. He also said that if you run late constantly, that's something we can depend upon, which was a fun note. Unfortunately, as the questions of respect continued to weigh heavily on my mind, this different view of integrity that I was now presented with solidified my new understanding of my dire circumstances. One can see the integrity that we're surrounded by. One can see that Somerville educators have come to depend on. It's unfortunate because we depend upon long, drawn-out negotiations. We are depending on some indifference, and we can depend upon Chapter 78. This is the integrity that defines this board, unfortunately, and I would ask you respectfully to change the integrity of what we have come to depend upon and recognize your teachers for the jobs they already are doing. You may ask, as Steve did, why would we reward somebody for just doing their job? And his answer was because it makes us better. And one gets the best out of others by respecting what we are already supposed to be doing. As I grow as a professional and apply these formulas to my classroom to get the results that I seek of a safe and rigorous learning environment for my students, I would ask that you please get your teachers back to the great results of Somerville school districts and settle the contract fairly. Principal from Vandermeer, Mr. Reevy, is that correct? He said, surround yourself with a good team. And you've got a good team here. And so we want to get back to that. And when we start negotiations for our next contract at the end of this coming year, I hope that we can settle that one quickly to maybe start a new understanding of the sport's integrity and that we can depend upon you to respect and support the teachers whom you've employed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to close the public session, please?
I'd like to make a comment.
After we close the public session. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Schweitzer. Any discussion? All's in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Mr. Quintillo, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to be real clear about any delay in compensation. We came to an agreement, I mentioned this at the last meeting on December 4th. On January 16th, we got salary guides prepared by the NJEA that were really incorrect. They used the wrong scattergrams. It took us until last Friday to look at the salary guides and get them back. It took us 2 weeks. We turned it around. We want you to get your money as quickly as possible. We want to pay you fairly. All we could do is work as quickly as the other side works as well. It takes two of us to negotiate. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? I'd just like to
Have a comment? Oh, sorry.
public session is closed.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I just want to say that there's one word that describes negotiations. Begins with an S, ends with an S, and rhymes with duck. Neither side likes negotiations. Unfortunately, it's something that we all have to go through. And our side, like your side, I'm sure tries to do the best we can for our side. As to Mr. Puntillo's point, at the last board meeting, we said that we would get the scattergrams back to you guys quickly, and we did within a week. There were 3 portions of the guides which were calculated incorrectly. We pointed that out and we sent that back. So hopefully when your representatives get it back to us, Mr. Boyce will then be able to take those and get everybody their salary. I don't think because the two sides cannot agree that it's a lack of respect, and I take that personally because my mother was a teacher for 38 years, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for teachers, so I think that there could be other words that may be able to describe the lag that has happened, but I don't think invaluable or respect are those words. And I think I've never heard any member of this board, current or past, say that they disrespect or they don't value teachers. And if you know of someone who has said that, I would ask you to bring that to my attention, because I will let Dr. Tian know, and we will take the appropriate action against such person, because that is disrespectful in itself. So, you know, as soon as you guys get those, your representatives get them back to us, we will make sure that we get you guys paid.
May I say something? Yes. I was at the keynote speaker on Friday, and it was excellent. And there were a lot of wonderful things said there. I made notes myself. But just to the point of anything you do, one of the other things he said was, we set our standards for ourselves so high that we want to achieve so much in one time. If we could all just be 1% better every day. And that really stuck with me. And tonight, I really thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go into executive session, so be it resolved that the Board of Ed move to recess into executive session to discuss HIV confirmed cases number 2018-2019:1 SMS and 2018-2019:2 SMS and a residency matter. The minutes of the executive session, to the extent permitted by law, will be made available to the public once the issues are resolved, subject to confidentiality requirements. Action may be taken. So may I have a motion to go into executive, please? Thank you, Ms. Olson. I have a second by Ms. Matthews. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved at 7:50.